Global Impact of COVID-19 by Jimena Ramirez. What type of virus is it and what does this mean? COVID-19 is part of the coronavirus family, a group of viruses that have affected both humans and animals in the past, through mostly respiratory infections. The COVID-19 is caused by the newest coronavirus found, which was completely unknown before December of 2019. This disease is extremely infectious and contagious. And this means that there are no known cures to stop the pandemic worldwide, and until one is found, the virus will continue to spread across the globe. How is the virus spread? COVID-19 spreads through close contact with people who have the virus. Because the virus is transmitted through the small droplets the average person emits when breathing or talking. These particles can reach a person up to 2 meters away, meaning that if distancing is not practiced, the virus will quickly contaminate the people around the affected person. Also, these droplets can land on any surface where they can when they can survive a certain amount of time. And if a person touches a surface and then proceeds to touch their mouth, nose, or eyes, the virus will also be obtained. What are the symptoms? COVID-19 is a virus that may not present any symptoms for up to 2 weeks, even though you're already infected. This means that a person may not have an idea that they are infected and continue their daily life contaminating others. The symptoms may start to appear on a minor scale, with light coughing and low fever. In this case, the 14-day self-isolation may be necessary, but no need to seek for a hospital. Most advanced symptoms may start recurring, such as difficulty breathing and pressure-like feeling in the chest area. At that point, you should seek for a hospital immediately. What is the recovery time or rate? For COVID-19, there are two different recovery periods, one for when the disease and symptoms are milder and another for when the condition of the patient is considered severe. For the mild cases, the average recovery period may take up to 2 weeks for the virus to leave the body. At this point, another test is taken to make sure the virus is gone. For the more severe cases, the recovery time may take up to 6 weeks, with constant tests and examination to record improvement. The statistics show that the patients that recover from COVID-19 take up about 97% of the total cases. The process of the creation of a vaccine is really rigorous, and if it's not followed correctly, the vaccine may not be released to the public. It is a process that may take up to 6 months. The first month is mostly paperwork, where data is gathered and permissions are signed. In the second month, the, the vaccine manufacturers optimize and established a working seed bank from the seed strain that was handed by the WHO. On the third month, inoculation of eggs, incubation, harvesting, purification, reagent and standardization, characterization, and sterility testing happen. On the fourth month, filling, safety, testing, and release during a chemical trial is taken. And on the fifth and final month, the regulatory agency reviews it for the release. And finally, the vaccine is released to the public. Implications. On the positive side, the largest ozone hole that has ever been seen over the North Pole has finally closed after being opened for a couple of weeks due to a polar vortex. Researchers say that the low impact society has had on the environment during the last couple of weeks have helped stabilize the vortex and close the ozone hole that was having an important impact on the frozen surfaces of the planet. This is not the first atmospheric hole that has been seen improvement since the isolation happened, as ozone holes across the North Pole and Antarctica have also decreased. On the negative side, due to the high demand on face masks and other similar supplies, the amount of disappearing in the oceans have increased. According to the NOAA, plastic wreaks havoc on marine ecosystem. As plastic swirls around on the water, much of it breaks down to tiny pieces, called microplastics. The Ocean Conservancy discovered that many fish species consume the plastic debris, confusing it from real food, as estimated that at least 600 different wildlife species are threatened by the pollution. In February, a conservation group of Australasia posted a photo of dozens of surgical masks they discovered on Hong Kong beaches during a year-long research project into marine debris and microplastics. On the economic side, its implications are on the positive side that in Costa Rica the prices of gasoline have been increasing during the past few years, affecting deeply the economic situation of each individual and the country as a whole. This saw a turning point as for February the prices were expected to drop about 50 to 70 colonies depending on the type, according to Recopi. This drop is due to the 20% less demand that is happening in the China at the moment due to the paralyzation, and China being one of the main suppliers for Costa Rica will have a positive impact for our country. The effects of the less demand on China in the area of petroleum have had an impact worldwide. On the negative side, in the US, a lot of important industries and jobs that employ an important amount of people are closed due to the polarization of COVID 19. People are getting fired at an uncontrollable rate. In a time lapse of only 2 weeks, during the end of March and the beginning of April, about 9.95 million people filed for unemployment. This is causing the sharpest rise in the unemployment curve that the US have ever seen, and it is strongly damaging the country's economy. Unemployment percentages raised from a 3.5% to a 17% in only 2 weeks, which is an alarming rate for everyone. An environmental suggestion is that to help the environment, reusable and washable face masks should be implemented. If reusable masks are being used, this would significantly reduce the amount of plastic that is currently being emitted to the oceans, helping the environment and the animals. And a bit on the weakness of this suggestion is that if the sanitary procedures are not taken seriously and strictly, this could be a way of propagation of the virus, which can increase the cases and deaths in some countries. Also, it is more expensive using reusable face masks than the common disposable ones. An economic suggestion is that in countries where the average new cases per day is minimal, the government should start being more flexible with the regulations to restart the economy. If the regulations are somewhat less strict, some businesses may be able to open and restart their work. This would help because it can positively impact the unemployment rate and help restart the economy of the countries little by little. On the weak side, if this is not taken seriously, a second wave of the virus is really possible to happen, which will increase the cases per day, and possibly the death rate will as well. As a conclusion and a review of the central problem, I think that after exploring the different impacts that COVID 19 is having on our planet and our daily life, I can conclude the environmental and the economic factors have been deeply affected in the positive and negative way. The world's economy in general has been affected negatively due to the rise in unemployment rates and the paralysis in some countries, while some of the environmental problems that had been concerning us during the past years are slowly starting to fade. The virus has completely changed our way of life and it is an adaptation that no one was expecting. The only way to beat this virus is to accept the fact that life has to continue and we have to someday restart everything we stopped doing because we have to deal with the virus because it will never go away.